there's this concept that we have to understand called inference and induction that is it's being deployed all the time. It's just the order of the day. It's been commonplace for ever, except that recently, or my patience is wearing thin. I assume everybody's patience is wearing thin because we've been able to afford the superior perspectives that we have. And now the challenge is to let people use colloquialisms so they can be satisfied with what they're trying to convey, more than just hanging on the words that they choose to use being insufficient or customized, catered to, replacing other perfectly good definitions before, right? And because they're going around in this loop, right? This loop of debate where they can't settle for words meaning what they mean anymore. And they're ready to take it up a level, but you can't take it up to the next level. You can't raise your game to the next level until you look at the fact that some of your questions have answers in them. They already come with the answer in it. And, just like, how many sexualities is it? Obviously, there's as many sexualities as there is an individual. If two individuals get together and bust down, then they're becoming the other kind of freak. Like, if you bust down with somebody, you're becoming that kind of freak. So there's going to be infinite sexualities. There's only going to ever be two genders. If you don't believe it, ask a magnet. Tell a magnet that there's going to be more than two genders. Tell a piece of electronic equipment with a circuit. Tell a dick and a pussy that there's going to be something other than a dick or a pussy that people can have. Even I think that there's hermaphrodites that are born with both and has to maybe, or don't have to. Like sometimes an hermaphrodite could say, I'll just keep both. I'll keep my dick and pussy. It's not like a choice that you have to get rid of one or the other, you know? So anyways, are you going to crash out because you discover or rediscover or remember that there is only a partial extrapolation or relationship there between gender and sex? So sex and gender can mean the same thing in some instance. Then when you start counting how many there is, we need a word like gender to represent duality, to represent opposites in a polarity or energies that are right or wrong for each other, to cancel out or to complete a circuit. It's, it's a trip that Bill Nye isn't satisfied with being a mechanical engineer. Like, he wants to be astrophysicist and he's got to go back to college. Like, what's wrong with that? You have time and money, you can go back to college, right? I mean, what the fuck? Unless you don't want to, then what the fuck? I think it's because they're... What gives them motivation to want to come up with these arbitrary mental gymnastics when you have a perfectly good dissemination process that works? When are you deciding not to process anymore? When it ceases to become a grift because people are no longer confused about their terminology? It's not gender dysphoria. It's you're get terminology and you're not satisfied with what your conveyance is allowing you to express when you're running up against opposition to people who don't want to acknowledge your your pronouns. So they have to come up with sus and shit. Like, that's just weird. Like, there's already all the pronouns and prefix and suffixes and hyphenated fucking... You don't need... Like, we have words that have a hyphen. You don't need words like ism and dark and anti and alt and shit to add to words that already has prefixes and suffixes that all you need in a language. You don't have to make up extra words outside of a language unless you're a fucking alien, and because that's how we defeated the Hyksos, right? We introduced foreign concepts with similar cuneiform symbolism in their alphabet, or we gave them an alternate cuneiform iconography, whatever, fucking little characters that represent words. Okay, we gave them a new one for something that they already had, right? And that's how we conquered them. Not we, you know what I'm talking about. The human progression throughout time. Okay, we're here because we did that. Doesn't mean I'm a fucking riding a chariot or shooting arrows back in the day. You know that. We know that. We don't have to get stuck. You know, unless a consumer NGO can devise a focus group to study the people interacting with the stream of consciousness. And that's why they tried Pokemon Go. It was an attempt. I mean, we should be pretty satisfied with the fact that nobody's really fucking with us. Like, these are attempts to fuck with us. Like, that people think chemtrails are killing everybody, but they're really trying to experiment with this in no-fly zone. They go up because manganese is light enough to be lighter than a cloud, and it's highly suspendable in the air, and it fucks up plane engines. So they're trying to work out a system when they can set up a no-fly zone, basically, but they can't crash all the planes. So they're adding different chemicals in these contrails, right? To clear out the fucking, like, to see if they can set up a part, like they're trying to put a tile or like one plate, like, you know, in a, or like a it's like a grid, and they're trying to fill it with, you know, to be like a parachute or like a sheet, a covering, right, where they can put something in the air that's gonna crash planes and nobody will even know. And so they want a no-fly zone, and you say fuck your no-fly zone, they're gonna be like, okay, well, try it, go ahead, try it, see what's happening. But because there's evidence that there's other chemicals, or because there's evidence that to where it seems like the end game is to try to kill off everybody, doesn't mean that it's not a nefarious type of developmental science that goes above and beyond, above our head. It goes above, it rides roughshod over our ability to acquiesce, or that we can't consent. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's whether or not that's righteous. It's a thing where they could say that it's above our grade. Okay, maybe there shouldn't be anybody doing any of those things, But the fact is, we can't stop them. So they are above our grade, so we can't stop it. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that the chemtrails are going to kill you. They are ugly, okay? They do last longer than contrails, okay? But the conspiracy is to protect us, because they might need another no-fly zone anywhere, and you know what I mean? Anywhere they want to put it. I don't know if I'm mad about that. I mean, it sucks, but I can't falsify concern where I don't have a nerve. I don't feel anything. Like, I feels nothing. You know, it's not affecting you. It's not happening. It's not looming. You know what I mean? It's not anything that anybody wants to stop and get a better affordable perspective, like afford a better perspective. It's not like anybody's ready or willing to afford a better perspective. So until then, why should I care? It's because they said you're a dumbass, huh? So they said, if you don't realize this yet, you need to look up. And somebody telling me that I got to take my time out of my day to look up a fucking chemtrail, and I'm an idiot, and they can't see that I'm advanced. They can't see that I'm advanced. I'm the one that told you that Space Force is actually the new seal and the root seed text hash ID of the directed acyclic graph, competing with the quantum computing technology to try to break and crack the seal to be able to look inside. So it's a way to generate authentic data query and more exotic data query fields to be able to populate. And it doesn't make sense to anybody thinking, in the old thinking is that you put a mail and letter in the mailbox and you get it back, it's mail, like nobody's looked inside it, because the post office, because Kevin Costner is tough and he's not going to let anybody look inside and read the mail, right? So but if you can't see that that is a seal, you know what I mean? Like, it's a stamp, like they put the stamp is over the liquor bottle, they put, like, they used to put a paper, and if you crack it, it doesn't mean that there's not a way to fucking get the glue to come off, you know, and then be able to glue it back on. Like, this doesn't mean that there's not ways to crack a seal. Oh, that's right. People are saying, what is quantum computing? Or what is a directed acyclic graph? It's a proof. It's like it's a way to validate transactions that is it's different from proof of work or proof of stake. It's a quantum tangle technology. I've made videos about this before, right? The only reason I keep talking about this is because the people that are afraid of end-over and encryption and come up with vague overarching legislation to pass revamped, refitted legislation for a new crisis, you know, like the politicians, the corporatists, they like the technology, but they need us to need the technology. Then we have to know what we're signing, and you know what I mean, and suppressing apps in the App Store. We're supposed to think that there's some kind of facilitation of things going smoothly when there's not too many choices of applications. Applications don't need a lot of subscribers. It only needs to work if there's just a few people using it. There could be as many, there could be 1 million, and you can just fucking look it up. You know, like, you could just narrow it down to what you're looking for. Why would you only need to put a limit or a cap on the number of apps? Has to do with what's preferable by a corporation. So the corporatists, they need us to, yeah, I'm going over this again. Why do I care what they need of us? It's like, if everything comes down to it, you still know how to make shoes. You still know how to filter some water through a carbon straw. You still know how to make string or cordage to be able to, weave and make clothes and to tie posts together to make a shelter. You'd still know how to harvest, you still know how to fish, you still know how to plant seeds, you still know how to do basic shit that, you know, and in this time being, right, we're not doing all that basic shit. We're doing the corporate industrial thing. So what's the problem? Everybody's happy. Everybody's satisfied. Everybody's getting what they want. It seems like it. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad everybody's cool. Everybody's straight. All right. That's absurd, but maybe it's not the point for me to be arbitrary. You know, if I'm trying to make a video, and I should just be satisfied with the conclusion of this video, and not need it to be any more for anybody or to do anything for someone, because apparently even if your crypto's all crashing and everything like that, they're still gonna find it's impossible for there not to associate you know, to fall back on your purpose, like you're saying. So that purpose is natural. So there's never gonna be no deficit. You know what I mean? It's just what we can contribute to each other, I guess. And if nobody wants to do it, then they don't want to do it. Then they don't like need a platform or a forum, or they don't need all those things that people who are upwardly mobile need, like to go to college and to be platformed. Your collegiate, educated, experienced, vetted, you know, verifiable, you know, standards, ethical practices, all these kind of things. Like who's better gonna knock that out of the park, right, than somebody to whom that is relevant to. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.